Hello, my name is Adrian, or Lee6113 online. I'm going to just do a quick overview of how to set up Roll20 as if you're a brand new Game Master. So let's jump right in. This is my Roll20, so I've got a whole bunch of different games. You can ignore all that. I also do have a pro account. You do not need a pro account to start gaming. All you need to do is just make a free account and then you can jump right in. So you have different tabs, your games, you can look at your kind of menu. You can create a game, which is what you want to do. If you're a player, you can try to join a game. They have kind of lists of different open games you can do. And then, of course, they have their own tutorials if you don't want to watch this video. I've never really been good at just doing that. I always just go straight to YouTube. So if that's what you like to do, let's jump right in. So pretty much first thing you want to do is create a new game. And then you're going to come up to this page. If you have modules that you've either purchased on Roll20 or have, you can click on those and it'll have a lot of pre-built maps and stuff like that. There's also kits that you can buy from the marketplace. So if you want token packs or if you want to just kind of see what else is out there, you can pre-order books like the D&D Wild Beyond the Witchlight is on here. You can add those into your game for, it's called the Compendium. But anyways, what we're going to do is just start right away with naming it. So we'll call this D&D Test Campaign. Now, tags are going to be helpful for the background of your Roll20 screen. So if I go back and you can see all these games here, let's open a new tab just to go back. The tags are these. So if I wanted to search for my Hollow Earth Expedition game, I can click Hex because that's one of the tags I used, and then I've got a couple of those ones. If I wanted to do 5e, I can go through and scroll for all of my 5e games that I've run. So that's what tags are for. So we'll do Lee6113 because that's me, and we'll do 5e. And then optional character sheets. This is about something you absolutely want to do is set it to D&D 5e. Roll20 can support a lot of different games. You have Pathfinder 1 and 2e, Starfinder, Vampire the Masquerade. They have Hollow Earth Expedition and a couple of the other Ubiquity games. They have, like, you could scroll through all of these and just see what they have. There's a lot of good ones. So they've got Call of Cthulhu. They've got, yeah, just you can knock yourself out playing around with those. But we're going to go with D&D 5e. That's what most people like to play. I run a D&D game group called the Lee 6113 Tabletop Role-Playing Game Guild, and you can find us on Facebook, Discord, and of course YouTube. And we run a lot of games. There's an open world for D&D 5e where it's a one-shot world, so every time you play, you make a third level character, and every game contributes to you leveling up. And we have multiple DMs, lots of different players. It's not a campaign, so you don't have to commit to every Friday night. You can just kind of see who's running a game on what days. You can request games, and you can just kind of be part of our community. It's pretty awesome. I'll put links in the description, but you're welcome to join. We'd love to have you. And back to the video. So we set our character sheet. We're going to say I'm ready, create the game. This creates a sub page for it, and you're immediately going to want to go to settings, game settings. Now what this is going to be is you can allow public access to this game. That means if people are going to this looking for a game page, it'll show up as like it's an open game. I normally do not do this because my games are always going to be invite only through either our Discord or Facebook. So if you don't have players, click yes. If you are part of a group kind of like ours, where you can advertise within your group, I would just click that as no, because I'll be posting the link for people to join once we know who's playing. Game background image is just going to be if you want to put one of these on. We can go with this this field because that looks cool. I normally don't use a game background image, but just to show you what it is, I'll put that on. The most important thing on here, allowing players to import their own characters. You want to click yes. The reason for this being, at least in our group, is a lot of people have their own Roll20 page where they can build characters, and if they've purchased books from Roll20 or whatever, they can use those to building their character, and when they join my game, they can just import from their game to my game, and it makes it a lot easier for character creation for some people. Other people use D&D Beyond, and I'll show you how I set up sheets for those because it links to Roll20 if you have the correct app, which is called Beyond 20, if I remember correctly. But there's the imports is kind of pretty important for people to use their own vaults. Now, game settings, compendium settings, I leave all these alone. The character sheet's already been set. The only thing I do is I change roll queries. I change it from always roll with advantage to advantage toggle, which means they can select it on or off. That you can mess with critical dice and like all this stuff down here, which I just never do. Health bars, sanity, you can do all those things, but I'm just going to save changes and we'll call it good. And you can see the background for this game turned in there. So we're going to go back to our main page. The next thing I like to do for my own preferences is I select a file for the cover art. Now if you have any pre-existing stuff in here, I've got a whole bunch of files for all my stuff, but you can definitely do that. I'm just going to select our Dungeon Delvers Guild kind of landing page. This is just something that we use a lot of the time, because the idea is in our world of Erden, the DDG, or the Dungeon Delvers Guild, is kind of what brings all of the player characters together, and they join each other and go on quests. So I'll just use that for cover art, but you can make whatever you want. You can change the title just by clicking on the text here, and then you're pretty much, it says, what are you playing? We'll do 5e. And game add-ons, if you have purchased like token packs or maps, you can do add-ons and see kind of what you have in your inventory. If I want to do, let's say, dynamic light and spells, if you bought a pack like that, you can add it to the game and it'll show up, and I'll kind of show you how that looks later. But anyways, if you don't have any add-ons, don't worry about it. We're going to launch the game, and we're looking at 7 minutes in, so I'll try to speed this up. Everything you'd want to know as a first-time DM, when you first go into this landing page, your camera will be on if you have one. Mine is not. That's here. Let me actually, on Streamlabs, let me move my camera so you can see. So this icon here, this will be me in the camera. So kind of like just what it was before. You'd see my face, my everything like that. And it's also going to broadcast audio. So if you're using Discord or Facebook Live or some other sort of streaming or video conference, the audio will double up. So you immediately want to go to your settings tab, which is going to be in the top right corner. Let me actually see if I can. You should be able to see settings now. So the setting tab is up in the top corner there. You can change your name and everything. You can change your Roll20 volume. But the first thing you want to do is scroll down to player video and avatar size. Sorry, no, you keep going past that. It's the video and audio chat options. So I want to broadcast nothing, disable, and I want to receive nothing, disable. That means when other people's cameras jump on and their audio jumps on, you're not going to have to worry about messing up your own system. So you reconnect, that will turn everything off. In fact, you can also just go to the video audio chat options and just set none. If you're the DM of the game, by saving that, I think it makes it so nobody else has to deal with that as well. You can just turn it off and nobody has it. Yeah, and then you can change your avatar size if you want it to be small, or if you want it to just be the name, large. You can kind of mess around with that. I'll move my camera over again because we are going to be using the chat box. So what are the other things up here at the top? You have your chat box. This is where dice will show up if you roll a d20, if you test in the text box. If you're wanting to do an emote text, you do /e and then what you want to say. So I see a lot of players like using that for role play. If I'm doing an extensive turn with somebody and it's just engaging one player, sometimes I'll see the other ones role playing amongst themselves with the emotes in the chat box, which is really cool and fun to read. But that's the chat setting. We kind of already went over the settings. You can clear that chat box if you do not, like if you've been rolling a bunch of stuff like hit points or anything and the players are going to join the game and you don't want them to see that, you can clear the current chat log to do that. And then there's something called the jukebox. So if I'm playing music from Roll20 or sound effects or anything, you can like change that with the volume in here for your own personal setting, versus if you have music already in here. Let's see if I can show you that. So you can go to tracks, like tabletop audio, and search battle maybe. What comes up? Let's try just fantasy and see what shows up under that tag. Abandoned woodmill. Let's add that to the game. And now I have this audio, which looks like it's a 10-minute ambience track. Now I'm listening to like YouTube ambience in my other screen, so that's if you hear any music, that's what that is. But I can control the master volume so everybody hears this abandoned woodmill loud or quiet, and then leave it up to them to adjust their master volume if they want it to be louder or quieter based off their own speakers. So that's something you can do with the audio. I don't recommend messing with Jukebox if you're a brand new DM. It's just going to add another layer of stuff to do. So yeah, don't worry about that. The compendium is going to be, this is 5e, but if you have whatever game you're playing, all the free information for that is going to be in here. So if I want to look up a fireball spell, I can just search the keyword, and then it's going to show me the spell of fireballs. Or if I want to find a necklace of fireballs, I can just click these and it'll be here. So it's super awesome. All of these boxes that pop up, whether it's a character sheet, the spell lists or whatever, or the initiative tracker, I can double click these and then they minimize. So that's super awesome. I can drag them over to where it's out of the way, keep them on the screen if these are character sheets. I like to do that a lot of the time, so I can just double click, open, scroll through, see what I need, and then of course if you exit it, then it's gone. So the compendium is great. This is going to be your journal. So the GM is going to see everything. If you're a player, you're only going to see what's assigned to you. So if I may have a character, and I'll do, let's say this is open character, I can put this in everybody's journals or just a specific player. Since I'm the only one here, I'm the only one showing up, but if I had 3 players, there'd be 3 more names. I'm going to set this to be all players, edited by all players, and what this is going to do is it's going to show you who is in the game. It's going to say who in the game can see it in the journal, and then who can change it and edit it. Sometimes if I put a GM note, I don't want people to see it, or maybe I do want them to see it if it's a handout, but I don't want them to change it or edit it. Those are what these 2 tags are. And then you can assign art. If I have a token on the screen, I can click the token. Let's just put something in. This is a little ahead of myself, but let's put this soldier guy here. I can click his token, select it, and now for this open character, he will have a page. I'll save changes, minimize, and he doesn't have art because I actually need to put something here. So I'll just randomly upload something. Put Korpsky, my goblin, except he's square, which is annoying, but that's okay. So now he has art, but because I've selected this for his token, if I drag the character over to the screen, it's going to be the token, not the art. Now, if I took off that token, if I removed it, then it's going to just be his avatar, and that will make him be the square goblin. So tokens you can manipulate by dragging them. If you hold Alt, you can make them an odd size. So if he's like a goblin, you don't want him to be a full square, you can shrink him, and then every time he moves, you'll be in the top left corner. This one you can rotate him. It's kind of fun. And then for clicking on him, you can set health bar. So if you go to the settings tab, let's say I want him to have 5 health, 5 mana, and 5, I don't know, whatever. You can assign these however you want. That will give him health bars, and from here you can do +1, -5, whatever you want to do, and that will change the health bar accordingly. You can just assign it for 2. And then if you want, let's just say you want the green health bar to actually be his health, and you want like D&D Beyond to focus on that, you can go to the settings tab here. Actually, hold on, no, this is, so you go to attribute, you just type HP, and now this is his health. If he has 15 health, and we'll just delete those because we don't need it. Some people put like his armor is 15, so they might put 15 out of 15 there just so it shows up. but that's what it would look like. And if you put the HP setting in, then it's going to pull straight from D&D Beyond, and you won't have to worry about manipulating the Roll20 sheet at all. Excuse me, I just had to step away for a second. So that is kind of their hit points and everything. You can do token gradients. Let's say he is shedding 15 feet of bright light. You can see what that is, or if that's a spell effect, someone's targeting him and it's a 10-foot radius around him, you can see who else in the vicinity would be affected. That's another great feature you can do. You can change the token bar style. So if this is just too much, you can change it to be on the bottom. You can make it compact. That's gonna put those like that. That's pretty nice to do, especially if you don't want people to like be seeing numbers and just you want it to be like that or something. If you also don't want it to be out of his square, you can make it so it's top but overlapping with the token. And now if I take out the blue bar and just have hit points, now it's just at the top. Or if you like doing it that way, you can also just put it at the bottom overlapping, and then that's one way you can do it to kind of clean up your screen. Those are tokens. These are other little symbols you can mess around with. You can give him like flags for he's sleeping or he's dead. If you're doing these, if you put your mouse over it and you hit 3, or 2, you don't click it, but you just put your mouse over it and you hit 5, whatever, you can change the numbers. So some people do that as a like reminders if they are whatever you can think of. If they've got a round count, like they're sleeping for 3 rounds or they're stunned for 2 rounds, you can click it and then just put numbers on that to represent what it is. So just a little trick that you can do. That's what this button does. Back to the journal though. So I have this open character. Let's open him back up. Now let's delete his art because he's not a goblin. I just want this to be open to everybody. I'm going to then edit it and I'm going to duplicate it a whole bunch. We're going to make like 5 copies. What this is going to do is when my players join my game, if they are using D&D Beyond, they can just do what I did. They can open up one of these, edit it. They can put in their own art, so I don't have to make them tokens. It's super awesome when players can just do that themselves. And then from there, once they're in, if you want to minimize the other players seeing it, you can change this from all players to just them. So if I'm the player, I could take out all players and just assign the one player. You as the GM will always have access to everything, so you don't have to be listed, but I usually do it anyways. Once I make this character mine, and we'll say Adrian's PC, now I can control my own art. I can put my token on here, and that's going to make it a lot easier. So actually, we'll keep those on the map for future. So once that happens, that makes open characters. Now, here's one thing. If somebody is using the Roll20 compendium, the Roll20 character vault, and they import a character, it's going to pop open just like one of these, but they're not going to have access to it. So if someone says, I imported Bob, you have to go into Bob's character sheet. It will actually not say copy, it'll say Bob. And so what I'm going to do is I see someone is now imported. I will edit their character sheet. I will give them access to, let's just do all players again, and then they will be able to see it. And from there, if Bob has art already, they just drag Bob on, and then they're on the screen, and they will have control. So that is these. If you've imported like a token pack, or like this is my dynamic lighting spells thing, I can put this on here, and then I've got, different types of things. Sparklers, torches. Torches are the most used ones. And if you're using anything like dynamic lighting, which is a pro feature, this is great for that. But just as an example of showing what stuff is. And then you can also add folders. So if I want to put all the PCs in a folder, then I can just drag and drop here. And so that way I can minimize one. And then if I want to have the front page just look less cluttered, now it's in a folder. Lastly, I can create a handout. We'll just leave this. I want to make it so everybody can see it, but only I can edit it. and then I will just choose the map as art. And now people can see map. Map of Eridan, which is our one-shot world. So now I can show this to players, and then whoever's will be able to see it. Okay, we're done with the journal. We'll go to tokens and then kind of wrap up. We're almost done. So for tokens, you're going to have a personal library where you can upload your own stuff. Everything that I put in here is kind of showing up in the recent, but it goes down. On the free account, you do have a limited amount of space. I think I was able to play probably like 10 or 15 games worth of tokens that I uploaded before I did run out of space, so it's not like tiny, but you do need to clean it out if you're only using the free one. If you do upgrade, you get a lot more space, and I've never had to clean it out, and it's been like 2 years. So the tokens, the recent uploads, you can just drag and drop to the screen. Keep in mind, if you're on the token layer, which we'll go over in a moment, your maps and stuff will be like automatically assigned to the grid. So what I was going to show you though is going to premium assets, and this is something I use a lot more, is you have a bunch of free assets. So these are going to be character tokens, like that soldier that I got. You can grab a wizard. You can go down to orcs, trolls, and ogres and just grab all these different free tokens. They're awesome. And they even have aliens. Add, browse around, see all the fun goodies that are here. Wyverns. And if you have any subscriptions or marketplace assets, those will show up as well. So I've got my Dungeon Crawl Classics right over here. Lots of different tokens. And if none of these are really working for you, you can search. Now, let's say I want to find a fireball. We'll go with that again. So Fireball, it's going to show you premium assets that you have to buy. Let's just not look at those. If you've had one, you can look at the marketplace subscriptions and everything. But what I want to show you is go to the web. The web is going to give you everything you can find from like Google searches. And there's a lot of great stuff that you don't even have to do anything with. All of these tokens just from being online, you can just grab, and now you've got really cool tokens. Now let's say I wanted to find a goblin. You can kind of do the same thing. Minimize your library, search from the web. Here's a dead body goblin, it looks like. Or maybe it's not loading. Oh, there it is. Like all of these things you can just get from online. So that's a great way of doing tokens, especially when you're just trying to throw something fun together. Searching from the web, great. And now we're going to go through the last thing, which is going to be layers and setting up a battle map. So let's just use this search feature and find a cave map. Let's see what pops up searching from the web. Okay, here's a good one. So we're going to drag and drop to the screen. We're going to zoom it in so it's really large. And now there's 3 layers to work with. There's the token layer, which I'm on, the map layer, which is the one with the grid, and then a GM layer, which is everything the players can't see. So I want this map to be on the back. So I'm going to click it, right click it actually, and you can see it for the bottom tab is layer, map, token, GM. Let's set it to map. Next, let's actually put Corpse Key back on here. Okay, so now I can drag and drop my character and he can walk around. You'll notice the grid is not aligned. There's a way to do that if I'm in map. Let's see if I can remember. So I right click the map and then I go to advanced and I align to the grid, and you want to zoom in, and it says to basically drag or select a 3x3 cell. So I want to do this 3, and that will automatically align to grid, and now you're in. I'm not going to mess around with this too much, but you can see that the white background kind of just obviously clashes with the map itself. So I'm going to go to our page. This is going to be our menu, our table of contents. You can see that because I imported the dynamic lightings, this page has all of my assets kind of here. But I'm going to just create a new one. We'll say this is the title page for my game. This is going to be the dungeon for the game. And I'm going to go to the settings cog. So you can delete it, copy it, and you can, so if you've done a lot of work with this page, you can just copy everything. But I'm going to go to the settings. I am going to leave the size of the map 25 by 25, and you can go up to 100 if you want, but pretty much anything over 35 I find really like slows down the computers. And even if you have a strong fast computer, your players might not. If they're on like a laptop, they're not gonna have a good time with the map. So we're gonna leave it 25 by 25, and to fix the white, we're gonna change the background color and make it like a dark gray. And then we'll save, and then we're gonna zoom out, go back to our dungeon. Now you can see that's like a light gray on the edges, which is just what we want. Now if you want to play around with it, you can go back to the settings, and then you can make it black. A quick way to kind of preview is just turn the grid on and off, and then you can see the color difference. I want to maybe go a lighter gray. You can see, but I think that first one was perfect. You can change the grid cell size. So if you're like trying to make a really big map, or you're like on a hex page, or you want it to be distances amplified, you can change this from the 5-foot square. You can also change to metric if you want, and you can change it to hexes or squares, or whatever. And you can change this to 10, or we're gonna leave it though. You can change the size of the square, or the style of hex to square. We're gonna leave it square. You can change the color of the grid line. So if I want it to be yellow, which I don't think I would ever want to do that, you can see now it's kind of yellow, which is very weird. So we're going to undo that, turn it back to black. You can change the opacity. So if you want it to be really bright, now it's very, very dark squares, or I can turn it really light because there's already squares on the map that I synced it to. This will make it so you don't have two of them. What else do you want to know? Fog of War, dynamic lighting, audio. We're not going to go over those. Those are kind of a lot more higher level Roll20 tricks. But just setting up your map, this is going to be able to align to grid, changing things around. The players can now move around on it. And we'll go to the first page. We'll put the map on here maybe. Oh, actually, no, that's not going to work because that is a handout. So let's go to our art. Let's go to my library. If you don't want it to be a tiny little box like here, you can go to the map layer first and then drag it over. And now it's going to be kind of a more appropriately sized. And then I can set this map here, and then let's just pull out this. Actually, let's put it down here. Oh, if there's tokens that are overlapping like this, and you wanted, let's say I wanted the DDG to be in the back because I want to look at the map, you can right-click the token and to front or to back, and it puts one token in the back and one in the front. Or, well, it just puts whatever token you clicked to the back so you can see everything that it's covering up. So if you're trying to like move people over dead body tokens, I've had this happen so many times. You can click the dead body token and then say go to the back, and then people can move over it much easier than transferring it to the map layer, because once you do the map layer, it gets tricky to undo. So for now, we're gonna put that to the back, and we're gonna put the Dungeon Delvers Guild page at the top. Then we're going to make it so the background color is the dark gray. I think for this one, maybe we will actually go with the black. And then for this page, maybe I don't want the grid. We're not going to be in a battle map, so we'll save this. And then lastly, I think I am going to still put both of these. So, yeah, so I selected both of them. We're going to set them to the map layer. Oh, we are on the map layer. Never mind. So I'm going to go to the token layer. Now I cannot select these. I'm the player just joining. I can drag, oh, here's my player character. Here I am. I'm in the Dungeon Delvers Guild. Now as a GM, again, I can increase size, I can rotate it, I can do whatever I want. But this will be like, if I'm running a game and I'm doing like a really quick one shot, I might make a page like this, have everybody meet in the tavern. They'll become a group and they'll go on the quest. They'll go down to the map and like go wherever they're supposed to be going. This is the dungeon, so they would go here next and then fight the monsters, get the treasure, and then come back over. And now up here in the bookmark area, the bookmark is what the players are seeing. I'm the GM, so I could be over here and they're still looking at that dungeon map. So you do want to move them from map to map. So making sure that whenever you change scenes, you're bringing the players with you is important. So they finish the dungeon, they come back here, and they wrap up their one shot, and you all had a great time. For monsters and everything, I guess we didn't really go over drawing, but this left bar, you have the map, object and token layer, GM layer. You can skip dynamic lighting. In the GM layer, if I'm putting corpse key in the GM layer, and I want to be able to see him better, I can change the opacity or just like have him really, really small, so really faded. And then if I want to move him out, I do have to go to the GM layer and undo it for me to be able to go and move him as a token again. I can also draw, like if I'm trying to show people on the map, the Dungeon Delvers Guild is here in Naria, or sorry, in Virton, and they're going to the Kingdom of Naria to do, one of these dungeons. I can draw on the map like that, and the players can too. So if they're like, I'm not sure where I'm supposed to be, I think I'm down here in Jolt, then they can draw on it. You can select and delete. What other things do you want to know? The map, the grid tool. So on here especially, it might not be as important, but if we go to the dungeon, how far away is the monster? You can use this measuring tool under the spyglass to see how far range is. And then your turn tracker is going to be the little clock. If I want to roll initiative, because I don't have character sheet set up, I'm going to show you how to do it manually. So let's say Korpsky is going to roll a d20 for initiative. Let's do a d20. So you rolled a 13, but it's not in the turn order. I can click his token, right click it. On the top is add turn, and then I have to manually put in 13. And oh, I forgot my bonus. Let's say it's actually a 16. Then I can go back in there and edit it to 16. Let's copy and paste another token so I can show you one more thing. Whoops. Okay, let's say there's 2 goblins and one rolled a 10. This button will shift down through initiative, but let's say everybody rolled and it's out of order. You can click the settings tab, descend, and that will shift the initiative to be correct. And if you want to delete the turn order, combat's over, you can remove everybody's turn, and then you can minimize it, or you can just click this again. Actually, no, you can't. You have to actually hit the X. But that is that's tokens and initiative. If you want to roll a bunch of dice, let's say someone got hit with 46 of damage, instead of rolling a d6 4 times, you can just go to 4, and you can roll 4 at a time. I told you about emote. You can also roll a bunch of custom dice. If I say there's 3 PCs, who are they going to attack? I can roll /R 1d3, and it will make a d3 for me. And then there's, out of the 3 options, I rolled a 3. If I want to roll 10d6, because it's the threshold here you can only go up to is 5 d20s or 5d6 or whatever, you'd have to roll /R 10d6, and then it'll roll that. If you want to get into it a little bit more, you can roll 1d20, and I have a +5 on my modifier. You can type it in that way. And then what else? If you want to roll in GM mode, you can just click here, and then they won't be able to see this, but then you have to undo GM mode. So that's all I'm going to go over for right now. This is kind of an intro. If you've never used Roll20, this is what you can do, and there's obviously a lot more to it, but this should be enough to get you going for your first D&D game. So hopefully this helps, and I hope you join our Discord and Facebook group and subscribe and all that fun stuff. we'd love to have you in our group, and we'll see you in the next game, eh? Have a good one.